A really popular question that I get asked is, how should I stake? How long should I stake? And up until now, I've really just kind of told people, you figure it out. I'm not sure. But I want to give a better answer than that. Um, it deserves more attention than that. So, from a pure mathematical, mechanical, non biological, robotic perspective, 10 to 15 year stake is where it's at. That's where you're going to get the most share of the share pool to yourself to gain the most amount of interest and to make the most money, bar none. No question about it. But is that really practical? 10 year? Well, let's think, what are people actually doing in the real world? CDs are an old product, they're nothing new. So there's obviously some type of pattern that we can follow. We can look to see what has customarily been working for people because lifespans haven't really changed that much in the last few years. So, what people have historically been using for CD rates for the past 50 years, they would probably also work well for us in HEX. So, let's dive in here. Here is a Goldman Sachs bank. The commonly available CD terms that they have are from 6 months to 6 years. Notice that the 6 year CD pays nothing better than the 5 year. It's the same APR. So they're not putting a lot. They're not giving people a lot of reason to choose the 6 over the 5 there. Synchrony Bank, I believe they're what PayPal uses. 3 month to 5 year is their standard. The interest rates really start getting good at 1 year. Well, not relatively. They're actually still very bad, but they're relatively good. Same here with Barclay Bank. 12 months to 5 years, same interest rate. Never heard of these people. American Express, 6 month to 5 year is available. Very poor interest rates though. Ally Bank, I think it's a new online bank. 3 years to 5 years, and the interest rate starts to really peak at around 1 year. So it seems like they're trying to coax people into 1 to 5 year terms. Capital One Bank, we see the exact same 6 month to 5 year, with 12 month being, this is interesting how 12 month pays better than 2 year. Okay, so that's a good ballpark. Let's check out another website just to see if there are any anomalies. Look here, summary of best CD rates. The standard, as we saw, starts at 1 year. That's where we saw all of the interest rates start to flatten, was at the 1 year mark. So they list 1 year, 3 year, and 5 year yearly. 1 year, 3 year, and 5 year terms as their standards. Notice it doesn't seem popular to list anything beyond 5 years. And I think we should talk about that a little bit. Here's another website, Business Insider. Best rates they're advertising for 1 year, best rates for 3 year, and best rates for 5 year. This is very interesting. Let's talk about this for a minute. So, I want to talk about why a 10 year is probably impractical and it may not be the best. So, think about where you were in 2010. Think about where you lived, who your boyfriend, girlfriend, wife, husband was or is, or maybe the friends that you had, the car you drove, the apartment or house you lived in, the city you lived in, the foods that you ate, the activities that you partook, the school that you went to. Think about all these things, the dog you had, the cat you had, and how different your life is from now to back then. Things are very, very different now. It was a different world. Could you or would you or should you really wait, or is it even practical to wait 10 years to realize payment on a CD? Well, I think that we can look at what people are doing in the real world, and they don't appear to be popular at all. Most banks don't even advertise for them. If a bank, if these banks are not advertising beyond 5-year CDs, they're, it seems very likely that it's because there's no demand. Now, can you go out and get a 10-year CD? Yes, they do have them. I've seen them out there. You can get them, but they're not being advertised very heavily. And it's not like it's in the bank's worst interest to have a long CD. That's not true at all. It's actually good for them. It's in their best interest to have a longer CD on their customer. Why? Because actual inflation rate is probably going to outpace these CD rates. The Federal Reserve declares that the core CPI, which may or may not be fraudulent, is at around a steady 2%. These CDs are only paying 1.5%. It is in the bank's best interest to sell the longest term CD possible. And the longest that seems to be popular is 5 years, because that is the peak of consumer demand. And I think that it's really worth paying attention to that 1 to 5 years is the sweet spot. Think about where you were in 2015. Now, it was a little ways back, but it wasn't nearly as far back as 2010. 2010 was a different world. 2015, yeah. Things were a little, it was a ways back, but things were somewhat the same. I think if you really want the sweet spot, it's going to be the 2 to 3 year CD. That seems really attainable, really doable. Personally, you do what you want. This is your money. I'm just giving you my opinion. This is my opinion. Nothing more. I would not go out putting down any serious HEX stakes for beyond 5 years due to the sheer impracticality of it and the fact that we have witnessed that they're just not popular because they are so impractical. Now, if you want to, ladder your stakes out and, just have some fun ones going out to 10 years just for fun, not really any serious money, which I think a lot of people do, it's no big deal. It's cool. But to put any real serious money that you think is somewhat important, of course, this is crypto. It can't be, you can't, no expectations, right? This is crypto. You know what crypto is. But looking at this realistically, beyond 5 years, that just seems too far, y'all. All right, I hope this was informative, and let me know if you have any comments or questions, and if you have any suggestions for future videos.